Welcome to another edition of Book of Jake. My name is Jake Abdullah. I got with me Manvir Victor. I'll tell you about him in a bit, but first, like, subscribe, share, and if you can, if you got anything or anybody you want me to talk to, let me know. Okay. So welcome, Manvir Victor, old friend of mine. I think I know you since 1980 something when we were in the club DJ, and he was working for Patrick Teo.
Yes, I did.
Patrick Teo, and I joined Astro, and then he joined Astro. It was called Miasat at the time.
Yes, it was.
ANP, and he was with Classic Rock.
Yeah.
Probably a radio station you've never heard of because he came and went very fast.
He came and went, yeah. Okay. But we amazingly still looked like they were 21. So.
Yes, that's true. So Classic Rock passed, and then and I remember, and then suddenly you disappeared. And the reason we are chatting with Manvir is he's got a very, very interesting story.
Right.
You know, I was actually shocked when I heard this because Manvir is a recipient of a kidney.
Yes,
right?
a transplant.
Kidney transplant, and he'll share with you who he got it from and how it has saved his life. And first of all, Manvir, just tell us your journey till you found out you had, some kidney problems and stuff.
Yeah. So around the year of 2001, I was fine. I was 35 then, enjoying life, playing football, doing all my stuff that I do. And then suddenly I felt quite ill, and I was throwing up. I was not doing well, and then so I went to the hospital for a quick check, did my blood test, and then the doctor told me, "Hey, listen, man, you've got high blood pressure right now. I don't know why, but you seem to have elevated creatinine levels, and creatinine levels are levels that come from your kidney, so they are indication that there is a problem with your kidney." And he said, "Your kidney levels are very high. You are facing kidney failure." So I was like, okay, so this can happen to anyone, but obviously if you have your yearly checkups, you'd have, notice of this earlier already, in the first stage, second stage. So I was already at third stage or fourth stage, right? So, and the doctor was not so great for me, that first doctor that I met. So I had to get a referral and go and see another doctor who was life-changing in that sense, right?
Now, what was the state of mind when you first discovered that, my kidneys are...
A shot. Absolute horror, because the way in which that first doctor explained it to me is literally I did my blood test. Doctor number one says, "Hey, listen, I cannot deal with this. You need to go and see another guy. You need to see a nephrologist. Go upstairs." So I go upstairs to a private hospital. I walk into the room. The nurse says, "Okay, hang on a second." The doctor sits right in front of me. I'm sitting here. This is the doctor. He's looking at my blood results. He didn't even look at me. Yeah? He looks at the blood results. "Oh, Manvir, your creatinine is very high. You have to be on dialysis. You see that machine over there? You have to be on that machine from next Monday." And I'm sitting here. No, he never even looked at me. So I was like, what are you saying? I was in total shock, right? And after that meeting, I walked out. I called another friend of mine who's a doctor, and I said, "Hey, this doctor told me all these things. I don't know what it means." Then he asked me where I was. I said, "I'm in this hospital." I said, "Hang on, I'll call you back." He sent me to another hospital, another doctor, a very kind doctor. His name is Prasad Menon at SJMC. He still works there. And when I met Dr. Prasad, and I said, "This first doctor told me all these things." And Dr. Prasad looked at me and he said, "Listen, I'm really sorry. I have to ask you to go for some more tests. Are you okay with that?" And I went, "Okay." Very kind, very nice. So I went for the further test, and he said, "Later on today, I'll tell you when I get the test result." So he sat down and he explained to me, "This is what has happened. Your kidney has shrunk because it's not working well. And it's probably something that's happened over the past..."
Is it both?
Yes, both.
Okay.
So you have two kidneys in your body there at the back, right? And when one fails, obviously there's a sort of infection. It goes into the other. So if I had seen this or known about this earlier, we would have taken some action, right? Unfortunately, I didn't know. So, and then Dr. Prasad told me, "We are going to try some therapy. I'm not sure it's going to work, but what do we have to lose here?" I said, "Okay, fine." So we went through about 4 or 5 months of that. Then he said, "Listen, it doesn't."
But during the period, how did you feel? Did your weight drop?
Yes, my weight dropped. I didn't feel like eating. He put me on a diet. Was mentally very difficult because you have this thought at the back of your mind that, you're going to be on dialysis, you're going to do all these things. And then eventually, you go for
Were you worried
checkups.
about your mortality? I'm going to die?
I was worried about that. But I was more worried about because I don't know, we don't know. And you have to understand that 2001, there was no Google. Right.
Yeah,
so when I go to a doctor and I say, tell me about this, tell me about this, and he goes like, oh, those are the books over there. And I'm like, these books are written in clinical language. You and I are not going to understand it. So I'm like, how do I try to figure this out? So everybody, I have to ask people, right? And I didn't have access then the way we do now. So it was quite difficult, and it's obviously frightening because you at that age, 35, none of your friends are going through this, So who do you
Was
turn
this
to?
genetics, or was it luck of the draw, or was it abused yourself, or
No. I mean, the first thing I said was I drink, and the doctor said no, your liver is fine because if you drink, your liver is affected. But he said your liver is fine. He said it's probably a urinary tract infection that just
caused
stayed.
it, huh?
And if you'd known about this years ago, you could have done something about it, but the damage was already done.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and your kidney is one of those your organs that you can't reverse. You can't reverse it, right? Your liver is. Your
Regeneration.
So your liver is one of those things where they can cut the liver and it will grow back, right? But with your kidneys, you can't because that's why you have two. So I went through that period, and then in 2002, I started dialysis, which is the toughest thing that anyone can go through. So what happens is your kidney doesn't work, right? And so there's this machine that filters your blood, takes out your toxins from water, from anything that you eat. And that machine only probably takes out 30% of the toxins of your body, right? But you have to sit there for 4 hours. And and that's 4 hours 3 times a week. So I mean it's an hour to get there, get in line, get the dialysis done, 4 hours.
Is it expensive?
It cost me about $3,000 a month.
Wow.
That's $3,000 a month. But you can't work then. And the worst part about that, Jake, is right after that, you feel like you ran a marathon.
Tired, huh?
Because your blood goes into that machine and comes back out cleaned. So you come out of that, you're totally wasted, and then you go home and you try to eat, and you are on reduced water to drink, because everything that you eat comes back into blood. So your body has a weight. So if you use too much of water or blood in your body, you start to drown because your kidneys don't function anymore, which means your bladder doesn't function, right? So you have to manage what you eat and what you drink, which is very difficult. And that period of time, I mean, I'm now 79 kilos, but when I fell ill, I was about 85 kilos. Within a year, I dropped down to about 67 kilos. So, I mean, I almost 19 kilos. You look at me, I don't know whether you saw, I look like a scarecrow. But the thing was, I had no energy. And at one stage, I remember, Jake, I couldn't walk 100 meters. I couldn't walk, not run. I just couldn't walk 100 meters.
So how long between the period you discovered you had kidney problems till, this dialysis was happening?
About 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Because of the doctor, he managed to help me try to figure out ways of doing it.
So it's still not working. So dialysis was just a temporary measure.
Yeah. So in the scale of things, they look at dialysis as just a bridge to you being healthy. That being healthy is a transplant. So at that point, obviously Malaysia being where it was, I didn't know anything about transplantation. I couldn't find out, and there's no Google, right? And in 2011, I got married. My wife then said, "Listen, we want to talk about a transplant." And I goes, "I cannot brain this. I cannot brain this whole thing." And then she, through some friends, found out about HKL. That's where they do transplants. They've been doing transplants in Malaysia since 1975.
Wow.
But people don't know about it. Next year, they're celebrating the 50th year anniversary, actually. So they've been doing it and very successful. So my wife wanted to find out about it. So she went through some friends, sat down, met with the doctors. The doctors were very kind. They met with me. In
This is the government hospital, is it?
Government
GH,
hospital.
yeah. GH, yeah.
And so this doctor, Dr. Azrin, superb guy. I mean, he sat down there and he is convincing me to do the transplant. Now, I'm the sick guy. He said me, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. You're still young. You need to do all these things. So,
do they have like a transplant bank there for you?
No, they don't have a bank. So everyone in Malaysia can be on the list. It's called an organ pledge list, right? So anyone can be on it. And if something happens to that person, the family can turn around and say, okay, this person said he wants to donate.
Pledge his organs.
So he's pledged his organs, but at that point of death, brain death or something, you can say you want to take away his organs. So every one person can give your liver, can give your eyes, can give 2 kidneys, can give your heart, can give your skin. There's a lot of stuff that you can give. So all these things can change people's lives. So up to about 12 to 15 people can be transformed. Their lives can be transformed. Now, Malaysia has not been doing it well enough as our neighbors, Singapore.
Well, I think it's just education.
It is that. So one of the things that 2012, I did my transplant.
Who gave you your kidney?
My kidney was given by my wife. Right, and
so people can survive with 1 kidney.
Yes, absolutely. There are people. They're football.
People don't
players.
know. People actually don't know. You know.
Yeah. So people, the football players who've got
one
kidneys, right? Nico Kranjca from Bolton Wanderers, and there are several different footballers all around the world who have this. So you can survive 1 kidney. So basically, you've got 2 kidneys in the back. They don't remove that. They put another one in the front. And in a way, whether you believe in God or not, but God has created us, right? Yeah, you do. I do, right? And we've got a slot at the bottom here, which is an empty slot in our body. And the kidney fits in there.
Wow.
So I was very amazed when the doctors are telling me. So I was like, oh, okay, you have to cut this open.
So you got a kidney in the front, no?
Yeah, so I got a kidney in front. So I can't play contact sports. Right? So the guy tells me, no, we slotted here. There's an empty slot there. I was like, what do you mean it's an empty slot? Yeah, on your right-hand side, there's an empty slot. Really? And it just connects straight away to your bladder and whatever. So I said, oh. So they do the plumbing.
So they take the kidney out from your wife.
Yes.
And then they put it into you. But
Yes.
how was her recovery?
Her recovery, she was out in hospital by day 3, I think. I was there for 7 days.
How long does the operation take?
For her, the operation takes about 3 to 4 hours. For me, it took about 7 hours. For 7 hours at that point. Now it's, I think, a little bit faster with new technology and all that. So your recovery is immediate. So the minute they plug in the new kidney and they do the plumbing and all that, if the urine comes out, then you know it's started to work. My operation finished, I think, at about 5 o'clock, the 26th of June, 2012. And I was woken up maybe at about 9-10 o'clock. And I was still in a daze. I was doped out on drugs. It was massive drugs, right? So the next morning, the doctor came and told me everything is fine. You seem to be stable. This is what we're going to do next. Within 2 days, I think 1.5 to 2 days, I was standing already. I was standing already. The physio came in and he said, you need to start moving. So they get you to move. And so
Yeah, but to me, I think the most significant thing there is your wife.
Yes.
Because somebody to give their kidneys out of love or, and stuff like that. So you stuck with your wife for life, bro.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, literally.
Yeah. So I mean, I carry her around with me all the time. It was a fantastic story because a lot of people came in the hospital, the doctors and all that just came in to meet us and say, "Oh, your wife is giving you the kidney." Well, usually it's brother sister.
So it doesn't have to be related or
no.
Huh?
So it's literally like you're taking one organ and putting it in another body, right?
Okay.
Now,
are there cases where where after the transplant, your body rejects it?
Yes. So I'm on medication. I'm on medication for anti-rejection. So that's why I probably sound like I have a little bit of a flu right now. I've always got that. So I'm at my immune system. In order, you take a body part, you put it into the host body, right?
You take it for life, this medication.
I gotta take it for life. So this your body will reject it. Your body will reject it because it's a foreign body. So what they do is they bring down your immune system in order to do that. So my immune system forever, because of my medication, will probably be 60% and 70% of yours. So I'm most susceptible to flus or something like that, right? My wife, no medication, nothing. Just taking the body part, put it out. She goes for her yearly checkups. She manages herself quite well in that sense, watching her diet. Now I'm more aware of my diet.
Is she going to the gym these days?
She's going to the gym.
You too?
I'm trying to. So I think that was one of the things, even before I was doing it, but the thing that I didn't do was do those checkups. So now that I'm a bit more aware of my body and what I cannot do, a lot of people look at me and say, "You're a kidney transplant patient. You were on dialysis for 10 years. You don't look like it." It takes a lot of work to try to look like this, making sure your diet is right, going and exercising, moving. I mean, a lot of the things that you believe in, that has become a part of my life because it's important to be able to do that. We've got this one,
to me, food is probably the most important medicine that
Absolutely.
people should, people think that exercise and which is fine, but you literally can lose weight without doing anything if you're on a caloric deficit and eating the right food. But you made a very salient point there, which is actually movement. Movement and muscle, and that's why I advocate lifting weights, because sarcopenia is loss of muscle and people get hurt and stuff like that. But I'm also interested in the other aspect of your life where you suddenly became an advocate for transplant and you represent Malaysia in some events.
Yes.
So tell me about it.
So after my transplant, I had to go back on a daily basis for the doctors to check me up. So I had to go in the morning, give my blood, and then by the time the blood work is done, I see the doctor in the afternoon. So I went to my doctor there, Dato Ghazali, who's the head of nephro, and I said, "Dato, I'm here. I'm spending so much time here. Can I go and talk to future patients who are going to have their transplant, so that I can tell them what to be aware of?" He said, "Yes, please." So he allowed me to do that. And then the World Health Organization, WHO, came into Malaysia and wanted to have patient advocates. So they recommended my name. I went in for a training. And from that training, they set up an organization. They made me the chair for that organization. So from there, I'm sitting down with doctors, I'm sitting down with hospitals, and not only in Malaysia, but in different countries. So I travel a lot in the sense that I'm learning about health systems. And then when I come back here, I bring back that expertise or that knowledge, and I share it with our people.
So you believe this is your calling?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that we're doing now to help people because, Jake, at that point, in 2001, I was totally lost. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know who to ask.
I can imagine, yes.
And I didn't have access to information. Today with Google, you have.
Everybody's a doctor,
Yeah. So we are trying to help the doctors because one of the things that healthcare doesn't do well enough is communicate. So, I mean, we've been on radio, we've been on TV, we've been doing all these things. We can communicate. So we speak to them and we go like, okay, this is how we want to reach the mass and understand them at their problem. And I have a number of doctors that we work with and they don't have enough time. They just don't have enough time.
I also feel doctors are just, I mean, most, and I generalize here, fixated on just what's in front of them. Like a classic example, I went for scaling the other day and my doctor is also a maxillofacial surgeon, Dr. Rama. He's a Liverpool fan anyway. And he said, my teeth's crowding and that's probably because I breathe very badly, which can cause my pressure to rise.
Okay.
So he says, go and do a sleep analysis.
Okay.
So I found that very fascinating. And these things didn't exist 20 years ago. The first thing they'll do is put you on medication.
Right.
So what you're saying, corroborates that. So
And healthcare or medicine has become so specific sometimes, which is good and is also bad. Because you go to a doctor and you say, Jake, I have a stomach problem. And this guy is some other doctor. He's going to, you need to go and see the gastro guy. I don't know about that, which is bad because we are used to growing up with, your GP, who's a physician. He looks at you.
Panadol for everything.
No, but he knows you. He knows your parents. He knows your siblings. He knows everything. So he sits down and have a conversation. Oh, Jake, this could be this. It could be this. But nowadays, the doctors don't want to do that. They say, you go and see the specialist there. So we are left with the specialist. And because they are seeing so many patients, sometimes they don't have the time to really talk to us.
Yeah, so it's communication and history and stuff like that. Good point also. So being a Malaysian and like what you said, one is we want people to pledge organs. How do you do that?
So we have a number of activities. So we're setting up a new organization.
Who is we?
Me, some of the doctors, some of the patients. So
is that an organization?
So we're setting up something called Vira Transplant Malaysia right now. What happened was 2 years ago on my 10th anniversary of my transplant, 2022, we decided to climb Mount Kinabalu.
Yeah, I remember that.
I climbed Kinabalu. So after that, what happened was that when we came down, the doctor said, hey, you guys did something very different, Can you arrange something else, not so strenuous, for other patients to come in too? So last year in March, we started something called a transplant walk. So every last Sunday of the month in late Titiwangsa at 7:30 in the morning,
I've seen those walks. Yeah.
So we just do, and the doctors come, other donors come, recipients come. And from those walks, we've had 3 transplants. So people will come and say, I want to give a...
But I think more can be done. How do we actually get Malaysians, as we're getting to Merdeka and this and all that, there's nothing more, I would think, noble than to be able to, even as a Muslim, I think it's allowed to. It is to donate. How do you actually aggregate people to go and donate? Is there a number we can call? Or?
So nowadays, thanks to our last Minister of Health, Khairi, KJ, who you know quite well, he put it on My Sejahtera. So literally, you can go on My Sejahtera, you can go there and say you want to be an organ donor, and you can specifically say, I only want to give my kidney, or only want to give my liver, I don't want to give my eyes. You can put all those things down there, and it's straight away done. It's straight away done from your phone. So on your My Sejahtera, you can do all these things. But more than just that, once you've done that, you need to have a conversation with your family and tell your family...
In case I go early.
Yeah.
Okay.
So honor my wishes as long as they are aware of it. Because we've had cases where people have pledged their organs.
And then they're cremated or...
No, what happens is at the hospital when the person passes away from an accident or something like that, suddenly family say, I didn't know. I don't know. We're waiting for somebody to object. So I'm not going to object yet, but so that in that case.
So it's knowledge, like it's the correct procedure to, one, pledge your organs, communicate with the family and,
Absolutely.
Okay. So, if you have a number, I'll put it up on the link downstairs, at the end of it. But also, what is the future of these situations in Malaysia? How do we actually improve this? Because I actually believe that, a lot of people don't understand until they're in the situation where you are going to lose your kidney or you need a liver or, you need a heart and then, they're scrambling. How do we escalate this information?
So, one of the things that we're doing with Vira Transplant is promoting this healthy lifestyle, which is everyone moving around. So, our walk from KL that we started 16 months ago has now started in Penang as well. We're starting in KK, we're starting in Kuala Terengganu, we're starting in Seremban. Because patients have said, doctors have said, hey, this is a brilliant idea. One Sunday a month, we're doing a walk. So they are grabbing up this idea. On top of that, we are also doing another walk to climb to Kinabalu in 2026. And we aim to take 20 transplant recipients up there.
Oh, that's fantastic, yeah.
So we want to show people that, hey, transplant recipients can do this. Because I lived in the UK for a couple of years, I left her. And when I used to go there for my checkups, I would walk into the clinic and I'd have this poster of this lady who had a transplant. And she swam the English Channel. There's another poster of this guy who ran 2 triathlons. And I was like, oh, you can do these things.
Yeah.
The Western people are just like, I've given you a body part, just carry on with your life. Just go and do that. So here, we are trying to inculcate that positive attitude in everyone and say, I'm not Superman. anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. So once people realize that they can be normal doing these things, and they go like, okay, fine, I can give my kidney to someone. So like my wife is perfectly fine, touch wood, until today, And so when people meet me, they are amazed, but they are really more amazed when they meet her.
Yeah. To me, so I would ask the same thing. Are you okay with one kidney and stuff like? So great story. Before we end, you have a message for your wife.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here with you if not for that, because a lot of
you left out a name,
I thought I was not supposed to. Her name is Melissa, and I thank her immensely for the life that she saved, which is mine. And I'm just taking that right now and trying to share it with as many people as possible, so that this becomes the norm and not the exception. What I owe her, I can never pay her. I'm just trying to pay it forward.
That's very good. Yeah, I actually believe that I am such an advocate. I'm going to go and pledge my organs very soon. And you inspired me on that. And I believe that, we can't take anything with us and might as well give it to somebody who can use it. And that's fantastic. But it needs to be aggressively done across Malaysia, and the awareness. Yeah. Any parting words from you, Manvir? Yeah.
I mean, your life, you have your one life, right? We have that one body. We need to take care of it as well as we can. So we need to be very conscious of these things that we have and what we leave behind.
I think one thing that you said earlier that is very important, please go and do your medical checkup.
Absolutely.
Annually, because this can mitigate something, and cancer marker, something that is going wrong. Yeah.
It's absolutely important to do that, because if you know now, you can stop a lot of things from happening. In Malaysia with diabetes and hypertension is a killer disease.
Yes.
And I'm not sure whether you're aware, but hypertension and diabetes leads to kidney failure.
Yes, because of the pressure going into your kidneys and even your eyes and all that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So knowing these things now, I'm not saying be afraid of it. Just be aware of it and do what you need to do to keep yourself as healthy as possible.
So before we end, when's your next walk? Maybe we'll join you.
It's this Sunday. Actually, it's the last Sunday of this month. It's at Late Titiwangsa on Sunday at 7:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Just near the helipad there. There's a little gazebo. We start off with a little bit of Zumba for about 20 minutes, and then we do a 3-kilometer walk. If the doctors come out, everyone comes up. Just come and join us.
Fantastic.
Have a chit chat with us.
Nice.
You see us all in this shirt.
Nice.
So come out.
Nice chatting with Manvir. It's such an inspiring story, guys. Again, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to contact Manvir, I'll leave his Instagram message on my link. And thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure.